What's up guys, I'm Ethan with Fay-Ar Fishing, and this is video number 2 in the Beginner's Guide to Fishing series. And this week is all about reels, so stay tuned. Like I just said, this week is all about fishing reels, and we're going to be starting with a brief history, so let's dive on in. So just like the fishing rod, we don't know who or when the fishing reel was invented. English literature first reports a wind installed on the lower 2 feet of the rod in 1651, and this is commonly accepted as the earliest known form of the fishing reel. Up until the 1800s, reels were primarily used for excess line storage, much like you'd see on a fly rod today. It wasn't up until the 1900s that there was really a rapid development among reel manufacturers that allowed reels to become more of the casting devices that we use them as today. Now, the reels that we know and love today didn't really begin to come around until post-World War II. While the spinning reel had been around for nearly 100 years prior to World War II, the popularity of the baitcaster didn't really start to come until the early 1970s when bass fishing tournaments really started to get popular. Then manufacturers decided to start focusing their efforts on the production of baitcasters. Now, the simplest of all the reels that we use is the Pencast Reel. It's literally designed for plug and play, or should I say push and fish. You literally just push a button and then you would cast, and then you just let it sit or you reel in depending on the type of fishing you're doing, and that's as simple as that. There's no real thought after that. Oh no, here we go. Okay. Like I said, there's no real thought to it after you cast. You just crank. Simple. The downside to the Pencast reel is that they tend to have a bad reputation for being cheap. Unless you're going with a Zebco 33, they're really just designed more for kids because they're not designed for long-term use. They're designed just more for simplicity. The next and probably most common out of all 3 types that anybody uses today is the spinning reel. Let me get my rod around here. The spinning reel is very simple. To be able to cast, you just take your finger, hook the line, flip the bail, and then you cast. And when you're ready, you just flip the bail back over and you're good to go. The good thing about spinning reels is they're very easy to cast, hard to bird's nest. The downside to spinning reels is there really isn't a downside. They're simple to cast. They give you a lot of control with your bait, and they can get you a lot of distance. I mean, line flies off of it relatively easy. As long as you can keep control of the line and you don't really stop the line from moving, you're going to get a fairly good amount of distance depending on how you're casting and where you're casting and stuff and things like that. The next and probably most wildly popular out of all the reels that we have today is probably the Baitcaster. Now, the Baitcaster is the hardest to cast, but it is also the most rewarding because of the distance it can give you. The Baitcaster generally only comes in 1 or 2 sizes, unlike the Pencast and spinning reels that come in about 4 to 5, maybe even 6 different sizes depending on your manufacturer. But you'll always be able to cast farther with a Baitcaster, and you have a lot less line movement, so your baits and presentations seem to look a little bit more natural. Now, recently, probably about the last couple of years, there's been a huge advancement in baitcasters with the addition of digital chips, or DC baitcasters. Any baitcaster that's labeled as DC or has digital chip on it is going to really be top of the line. It's going to help out power fishermen a lot because of the way it controls the reel. I'll go into DC baitcasters in another video. There's just not enough time in this video for me to really get down and break down what a DC baitcaster is and how it works just in this video. The downside to baitcasters is they're extremely hard to cast. they're simple in that all you have to do is press a button and keep your thumb on the line as you cast, but you have to feather it to control your spool so you keep it from backlashing, because your spool will start to spin faster than your line goes out and you get this nasty bird's nest. Not fun. Like I said earlier in another video, I have a love-hate relationship with my Baitcaster because I'm guaranteed to at least one time backlash it every single time I use it. But I've got to go with it because the benefits outweigh the one time I'm going to actually bird's nest. Alright, now we're going to talk about gear ratios. So what is a gear ratio, or what are gear ratios when talking about fishing reels? Every reel has a gear ratio. Generally speaking, you only ever hear it talked about on baitcasters because certain baitcasters are designed to have certain speeds for certain presentations of certain baits. That's a lot of specific areas. I just use I think mine's a 7.2 to 1 or 7.5 to 1, maybe 7.3 to 1. 6.5 to 1, okay. Yeah, 6.5 to 1. But gear ratio is the number of times the spool spins or rotates per one crank of the handle or crank. So a 7.2 to 1 gear ratio means that for every one full crank all the way around with your handle or your crank, you get 7.2 rotations of your spool. It's crazy, huh? Same applies to 8.1 to 1, 6.0 to 1, 6.5 to 1, 7.2 to 1, 7.3 to 1. It's all the same thing. One full crank means that many rotations per one. But it's always how many rotations per one crank. Okay, now we're going to cover price ranges as far as intro level, intermediate, and high, or I don't know, what did I call it last time? High price. Now, these are just my opinion, just like last time, but these are going to be the basics for someone starting out, so you can figure out your budget and how much you actually want to spend when going to buy a rod and reel. Now, intro level reels, you're looking at Pencast really. You've got Zebco, you've got, I think even Abu Garcia has the Abu-Matic. I think even Lew's has one or two. I can't remember. But Zebco is going to be really base intro level. Like I said, they're really geared more towards kids, but you can use it as an adult, obviously. But they're going to run anywhere from $10 to $30. I would really only recommend Zebco, Lew's, or Abu Garcia when you get into those spin casts, because those are going to be your top quality. And you've got store brands and wide varieties, some for $20, some up to $40. Just in your entry levels, I know Academy has some store brands that range from I think $20 or $30 up to like $100. It just depends on your store brands. Like Bass Pro has their store brand. Everybody's got a store brand, and that's going to be that also. I was just thinking, and I made changes from intro, intermediate, and high to good, better, best. I'll still give you the price points, but it just makes more sense to call it good, better, best instead of intro, intermediate, high, because then it makes it seem like it's super expensive, which, I mean, they can be, but they're not always. So the last set with the Zebcos and the Abu-Matic, that would be your good. The one we're going into now, which is your intermediate, will be the better. So your better price point reels and your a little bit better quality, you've got your low-end Shimano, low-end Penn, low-end Abu Garcia, Quantum. It's another good brand that's owned by Zebco that is really quality. And for you younger guys that don't know this, before Kevin Van Dam started with Lew's this year, he was strictly Quantum. That's all he used. So that's his brand. So obviously it's a quality brand. But Shimano, they're a good brand. They've made their name in reels just by their quality. I actually have one of their $50 reels right over here. I went over that in my gear video, my Shimano neck save. I'm really happy with it. I'm still working out some kinks. I may be changing out my line. I'm not super happy with my fluorocarbon line on it, so I may switch out to a braid. I'm a braid guy, love my braid. Penn is another good brand with good quality reels at good quality prices. Another wide price range to accommodate most budgets. I think the lowest I've seen them is like $40-ish, and they can go on up to over the $100 range. Quantum, they have, I want to say their bread and butter is really 30 to 50, 30 to 70 for your general average fisherman, and then they've got their higher end stuff, which is called their performance tuned or something like that, or PT, and all of those are in the price range of what I would call the best, or $100 and up, really. Best, Abu Garcia, Shimano, Luz, Quantum, Daiwa has a couple, some of the higher end H2O Express maybe, but really that's topping out H2O Express. Abu Garcia, you've got, oh Lord, obviously tons of reels. You've got the Black Max, which is what I'd probably put down in the better. You've got the Elite Max, you've got the Revo S, the Revo X, Shimano, you've got the Satika, the Curado, the, I'm forgetting one, SLX now, SLX XT, SLX Digital Chip or DC, the Curado DC, the Canon, if you can still find them. All those are Baitcasters. They do have higher end spinner reels, like the Sahara, the Sienna, stuff like that. And then you got Luz, who's got pretty much all theirs are listed as speed spool or mock speed. And all theirs are going to be 100 to 150, 60, and on up, depending on how much you want to spend. But all three of those brands are good quality brands that put out quality reels that are all used on Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour, the Bassmasters Tour. They're all reels and brands that are used every day by fishermen such as myself, Clint, Dakota, and all the guys that I know that fish. One last thing I'm going to add in here, reel care. Your higher price point reels are really designed to be taken apart, cleaned, oiled, greased, stuff like that, just to keep them running and to keep them from just crunching out on you in a year. Your lower end ones, your $30, $40, $50, $60, I'd say even $70. They're really designed to be able to work with minimal, very, very minimal lubrication and greasing, because they understand that guys that are buying in that price point aren't necessarily really looking for maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 years out of it. They might be get 2, 3, maybe 4 seasons out of it, and they're ready to move on. So they just design them to be able to run on the bare minimum, to where they'll either never cleaned or maybe cleaned a couple times. But your higher end reels, they're designed to be taken apart and just loved, because ideally these are reels that are going to last you 15, 20 years, depending on how well you take care of them. So cleaning and maintenance, always important as far as reels go. The lower price points, you don't have to worry about cleaning them so much, but I would. There's still something you're investing your money in, and I would definitely always take them apart, clean them, show them a little love, put them back together, and just make sure that they're just going to keep cranking smooth. Okay, so that is everything that I know or could find about reels. I will leave a few links in the description down below to pages that cover most of the info that I covered here with you today if you can't remember it. Or you can just always rewatch the video. I always appreciate that. If you have any questions about reels, you can leave those down in the comments. Or if maybe you want to share your favorite reels that you love, that you've had for years, you can also do that. Our Facebook and Instagram are also linked down below as well, so you can go click those links and give us a like and a follow. It'd be much appreciated. We keep you up to date on videos coming out and things that we do throughout the week, especially now since we are officially on Team Guggen. You'll be seeing a lot more Guggen Squad themed posts. Also, if you want to hit that like and subscribe button down below here and turn on notifications, get notified when we make new videos. Keep an eye out for maybe a Guggen HQ video to come out soon, maybe in the next month or so. And as always, get up, get out, and go fishing.